Stephanie White definitely had a situation where they was in a heated exchange right before halftime. Guys, for this one here, we got to go all the way up to Indy. Let's get it.
Okay, so Caitlin Clark was totally done with all the craziness. And when she finally spilled the tea to Coach Stephanie White at halftime, everything flipped.
Now here is Clark. Eyes ahead. Lob inside. Finds Boston right on the money.
The Fever totally turned things around against Atlanta. But what went down during that intense moment? And why did some teammates suddenly start playing like they really wanted to win? The real story might shock you. What do you think happened between Caitlin and Coach White when they talked at halftime? Let me explain it simply, because what went on in Indianapolis wasn't just a regular basketball game. It was an awesome lesson in how one player can change the whole team's vibe when she's finally done with the drama.
Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White exchanged words going into halftime of this Atlanta Dream game. Now, I'm here to tell you, no footage has emerged of the altercation, but I'm pretty sure within a couple hours it's going to be roaming somewhere out there that this exchange happened.
Okay, here's the scoop from the game. People who were right there, not just some random folks tweeting stuff, saw Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White having a big talk as they walked to the locker room at halftime. Now, don't think this is just another silly rumor floating around. Let me tell you why this totally makes sense. Word is, Caitlin told her coach straight up to talk to Kelsey Mitchell and Natasha Howard because they're not passing the ball. And you know what? Good for her for speaking up. Somebody had to say it because watching this season has been tough. For anyone who really gets basketball.
Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White were having a heated discussion at halftime. Word in the street is Caitlin Clark told White to sit Kelsey Mitchell and Howard because they don't pass. Could be true. Caitlin went to tie her shoe. Like, that is something that I noticed. Like, Caitlin literally, when Natasha Howard had the ball, she didn't even look. She was basically walking back on defense. She essentially walked back on defense every time Natasha Howard had the ball.
Let's talk about what happened, because this didn't just come out of nowhere. Caitlin Clark isn't some wild kid who gets mad for no reason. She's been stuck in an offense that doesn't fit her skills at all. It's like watching her teammates skip her when she's wide open, and playing in a way that makes her look less awesome instead of super awesome. But here's the juicy part. After that halftime talk, everything flipped. The Fever scored 59 points to Atlanta's 40 in the second half, their best half in forever. Just a fluke? Nope, I don't think so. And here's what really gets me excited about this whole thing. There's this video going around where teammates say who they'd call in an emergency. Guess whose name never comes up? Yup, Caitlin Clark's. Every single teammate picks someone else. Every single one. I'm not saying this proves anything huge, but it's super curious timing when you think about what supposedly went down at halftime. It's like putting together a puzzle, and the picture doesn't look great for team vibes. Let's look at what really changed in that second half, because it was like night and day. In the first half, it was the same old mess. Caitlin getting the ball with just 3 seconds left to shoot, teammates ignoring her even when she's in a great spot, and this boring one-on-one play that makes everyone look bad. But after halftime, boom, the ball was zipping around. Suddenly, Caitlin was getting the ball early. Suddenly, players were passing instead of just trying to score by themselves. It was like seeing a totally new team out there.
Bounce back win for you guys. What was working for you so well, especially in that second half offensively?
Yeah, I mean, I thought we just played with a really great pace. I thought we moved the ball. I thought we cut hard, which opened up the three-point line for us. And then we knocked down some shots, but also I thought our defense was really good. So I think it was both sides of the ball, and kind of felt like how we should get back out there and play, every single game. I think 99 points is, probably the most we've put up in quite some time. I think somebody said 59 is the most scored in a second half in, quite a few years now. So
it was like seeing a totally new team out there. You know what's super interesting? Natasha Howard, who's been playing a ton even though she keeps making iffy choices, was suddenly sitting on the bench for most of the last quarter. Kelsey Mitchell, who had 22 points before the final part, hardly got to play when it really counted. Some folks might say that's just regular coach stuff, but come on. When you've been giving certain players lots of time all season, no matter how they decide things, and then you bench them right after a big halftime talk about passing the ball better. That's not just random. That's because of what happened.
I knew it was only a matter of time, bro, that Caitlin Clark was going to obviously have words with Stephanie White. We noted that she's been running this motion offense, and Caitlin Clark cannot get in the rhythm. A lot of people thinking Caitlin Clark hurt. I don't believe she's hurt. I believe Caitlin Clark cannot simply get into rhythm. That's why she has not been shooting very well. And I was one of the first people to tell y'all this was going to happen. I told y'all about a week ago, Caitlin Clark was going to come back. And if nothing is going to change, we're going to see the same Caitlin Clark we seen right before injury. And sure enough, this is the same Caitlin Clark we seen right before injury, bro.
Okay, listen up. It's like a big mess we've all been watching for months. Caitlin Clark was like the best player in college basketball, super smooth with her shots. But now in the pros, her shots aren't going in as much. And everyone's pointing fingers saying she's not growing or getting used to the big league. But here's the deal. When you really watch the games, like really pay attention, you see Caitlin trying so hard in a setup that's not helping her shine. Think about it. In college, Caitlin was the one holding the ball, speeding things up, and making her teammates look awesome. But in the pros, they're making her stand in the corners while others just keep dribbling forever. She gets the ball with like 2 seconds left to shoot, and they expect her to do something amazing. That's not helping her grow. That's just the team messing things up big time.
Just 4 threes in your last 7 games, but tonight 4 of 5. What got you into the groove tonight in this game?
Hey, you know what? It's about dang time, let me tell you that. I have my, shoot, it's been a second. I just think for the team, you know, we've had a lot of injuries. We've had a lot of movement. When C's playing, it's a whole different team. And when she's back, you know, we got to catch our rhythm. She's a heck of a player, but we got to find ways to get her involved, but keep people hot. But, you know, for me, it finally felt good. It felt good. Like I said, my family's here. My sister's my best friends. And so it just felt good to have my family here. So I thought I should do something tonight.
You certainly did something. The 10 rebounds.
Guess what? When they finally let her play her way, it was awesome. They scored 59 points in the second half, and it wasn't because Kelsey Mitchell turned into a superstar like Steph Curry. It was because they started passing to their best player, like they should have been doing from the start. Now, here's the juicy part. After the game, Caitlin talked to reporters and was super nice. She said her teammates were great, passing the ball fast and playing with energy. But if you listen closely, she was kind of pointing out what went wrong before. She said they played fast and shared the ball, stuff they didn't do in the first half. She mentioned cutting hard to get open for three-point shots, which they hadn't been doing all season. Every nice thing she said was also a sneaky way of saying what they'd been doing wrong. Now, let's talk about the big issue nobody's saying out loud, the coach. I'm not trying to be mean to Stephanie White. She's super smart about basketball and deserves her job. But sometimes, even a good coach and a great player don't click, and that's okay. The problem is when the team pretends it's all fine. The way Coach White's offense works might be great for other players, but it's not working for this team. When you've got someone like Caitlin Clark, who can make everyone better just by holding the ball, not letting her do that is like breaking a basketball rule. Oh, and let's chat about the other players for a sec. Kelsey Mitchell is really good at scoring, but she's being asked to do stuff that's not her best thing. She's taking tough shots when she should be shooting easier ones thanks to Caitlin's passes. That's not her fault. It's how the team system is set up.
When Natasha Howard had the ball, she didn't even look. She was basically walking back on defense. She essentially walked back on defense every time Natasha Howard had the ball. And by the way, if you guys didn't see Natasha Howard
is a pro who's done well in the WNBA. But it's tough to watch her make bad choices with the ball when Caitlin is open and ready. One time, she even guarded her own teammate by mistake, which shows how mixed up this team can be. The cool thing is, Caitlin finally got fed up in a good way. Instead of being mad or wanting to leave, she talked straight to her coach about what's wrong. And guess what? Coach White listened and made changes. But here's what worries me moving forward. One good game doesn't fix 6 months of mess. The team system, how they pass, and who's in charge need work, and that takes time. Just winning one game doesn't mean it's all fixed. The real challenge is if they can keep playing the right way, or if they'll slip back to old habits. Honestly, we've seen this team shine sometimes this season. The issue is they don't do it all the time, or stick to the smart way of playing. And for those who think this is about drama or clashing personalities, let me set it straight. This isn't about Caitlin being picky or bossy. It's about a super talented player not being used right by a team that doesn't know how to make the most of her skills. Think about the best point guards ever, like Magic Johnson, Steve Nash, or Chris Paul. Did they win big by standing in the corner or getting the ball too late? Nope. Their teams built everything around what they do best. The Indiana Fever are trying to make Caitlyn fit their plan instead of building a plan around her. That's not just bad basketball. It's bad for the team's future. When you have a player who can change your team's path, you tweak everything to make her shine. That second half against Atlanta showed what this team could be if they play smart, passing the ball fast, letting Caitlyn run the show, and creating chances for everyone. It's not super hard, but everyone has to agree to do it. The big question is if this was just a one-time fix or the start of something new. If they go back to the old way, there'll be more tough talks between Caitlyn and her coach. And honestly, good for Caitlyn for speaking up. Too many great players just accept things not working because they don't want trouble. But sometimes someone has to say, this isn't right, for things to get better. The fact that the team played better right after that talk shows Caitlyn was onto something. Results don't lie, and the results were obvious. While everyone's buzzing about the halftime talk, I care more about what it means. It shows a player who wants to win so bad she'll have hard talks. It shows she cares more about the team winning than her own comfort. And most importantly, it gives hope that this team might finally start doing things right. Now, let's chat about Aliyah Boston and all this mess. She's the perfect example of how to make Caitlyn better. Boston's doing great because she knows she's not the main star. Her job is to help Caitlyn shine. Watch how Boston moves when Caitlyn has the ball. She sets screens, runs to the basket, and gets ready for easy shots. She doesn't need the ball all the time to make a difference. And that's the attitude the whole team needs. Some players act like Caitlyn's taking their shots, but Boston sees her as a way to make everyone better. That's how you think if you want to win championships. And speaking of championships, let's talk about the team's priorities. The bosses seem more focused on keeping things the way they've always been instead of making the most of their star player. That's the wrong way to think, and it'll cost them wins. You don't pick a player like Caitlyn Clark and then ask her to fit into an okay system. You build your system around her and find players who work well with her. It's that simple, but some folks don't get it. That emergency contact video I mentioned before, it shows something's off. If your star player isn't someone teammates would call in a pinch, that says a lot about the team's vibe and respect. But respect comes from doing your job well and acting like a pro. And Caitlyn's done both. Her pushing for better passing and team changes shows how bad the communication has been. It's frustrating to see other WNBA teams use their stars right while the Fever struggle with basic stuff. When you have a player who scored almost 30 points and had 9 assists a game in college, you don't give her the ball less. You give her more. Her shooting struggles aren't just her fault. When you get the ball in bad spots with no time or space, even great shooters mess up. That's not her problem. It's the team system. And let's be real. This is Caitlyn's second season, and she's already teaching her coaches how to play smart basketball. That's not normal, and it won't work long term if the team wants to win big. The good news? That halftime talk might have been a game changer. When a star like Caitlyn speaks up about big problems, smart teams listen and fix things. The fact that they played better right away proves she was right. But the real test is if this is a forever change or just a quick fix. If they go back to old habits, more tough talks are coming. The awesome part of that second half wasn't just the points. It was how the whole team looked happier and more confident. When everyone knows their job and the ball moves right, everyone wins. That's basic basketball. And to those who want to criticize Caitlyn for speaking up, let me ask, would you want a player who stays quiet while the team struggles? Or one who cares enough to fix things? I know my pick. Great teams have players who call each other out and leaders who face problems head on. That's what Caitlyn did at halftime. It's what leaders do. They spot problems and fix them. The fact that Coach White listened and made changes shows she's willing to learn too. That's a good sign for this team, as long as they keep talking openly about what works and what doesn't. But let's zoom out. The WNBA is growing fast, and teams that don't use their best players well will fall behind. The Fever can't waste Caitlyn's best years figuring out simple stuff. That game against Atlanta showed what they could be if they play smart all the time. The question is if the team's bosses are ready to make that their normal way of playing. not just a one-off. Because at the end of the day, this isn't about drama or fights. It's about using talent right and winning games. If it takes a few tough talks to get there, that's fine. That halftime chat might have been just what this team needed. When your best player finally says the problems everyone's been ignoring, maybe it's time to listen. What do you think? Was Caitlyn right to call out the team system? Share your thoughts below. Hit that like button and subscribe for more real basketball talk that gets to the point.